Now, our next guest has just been named the winner of the 40 Under 40 Awards. Now, if you're a fan of The Block, would recognise her from there, but she's gone on to create a beauty empire. Please welcome to the program, Elisa Fraser. Lovely to have you in studio. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you on the program. Look, let's kick off things from where they first began. You won The Block alongside your twin sister, but before that, you were a police officer. So can I ask you, what was it like being a police officer with all this, design flair? You were born to be this designer, working as a cop.
Yeah, well, back when Lysandra and I were both police officers, we didn't know that we had this design skill, I guess, or flair. So it really hadn't been unleashed until we went onto The Block.
Okay.
We went onto The Block. I'd been a lifelong fan of The Block. We'd watch it every night and think about how we would do the rooms and, we wouldn't have done that. We'd have picked this. And anyway, we were sitting, Lysandra and I were sitting in the room one night and we were watching the finale and they'd won a ton of money that year. And we're like, we need to apply. And we applied and we got on. And then our plan was to get on, hopefully win some money and return back to our normal lives.
And it didn't kind of pan out that way, did it?
No.
Because you won.
Yeah, we won. And then they asked us to do a back-to-back Fans versus Faves. And we knew that SAPOL wouldn't give us another year off.
Was it a full year, was it?
Well, it was a stint off.
Yeah.
And it was a career break, and we knew that they wouldn't give us another career break. So we had to make the decision then and there whether to hand in our badges. And it was no question for me. I just knew once we'd won, it was what I wanted to do. And it was like, when you've got all this money, you're spending other people's money. It's amazing, like, how creative you can be.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we went back on straight after and did another 3 months of a lot of hard work, and then came runners-up in that and decided to start our own interior design business. And that was nearly 10 years ago.
That is incredible, isn't it?
It's
because
mad.
a lot of people go on to reality TV and it really is only 5 minutes of fame. It's been a decade later. I just want to ask you, I'm a little bit of a renovator myself. I've done 3 and I just love it. I don't make a career out of it, of course, but I often watch the people on The Block and I love the creativity. But how hard is it?
Oh, no one will understand how hard it is. Like, the first block, it was an old rundown hotel and we had 1 floor and there were 8 bedrooms and bathrooms. So we had to demolish and rip up all the carpet, take down all the beds, all the cupboards, scrape the vermiculite off the ceiling, demolish a full bathroom before we even started the week. Do you know, like, that was so taxing, but we were just completely on a high. We were running on adrenaline.
Okay.
And we would get into bed. So the normal week would be, you would maybe get to sleep at 3:00 in the morning. You'd set your alarm at 6:00. So you're living on 3 hours sleep. Then towards the end of the week, when it was getting closer to reveal, you'd be up for 48 hours. And we did that for 17 weeks. And it was mad. It was mad. And we had children as well. Lysandra had a 1-year-old.
That is harder than childbirth and looking after a newborn by far.
Yeah, it was the best thing ever, but it was the hardest thing ever. And no one, unless you've done it. But actually, even if you've done it, the first one where we had to demolish everything was so hard. The second one wasn't as hard because we didn't have to demolish all the rooms.
See, that just sounds cruel. So were you best mates always? And then going into this, did you become closer?
Look,
or not so much?
Lysandra and I have a love-hate relationship. So we're not like the twins that are just like absolutely love each other and are like best friends and talk really nice to one another. Like, we're just not that. But we've got each other's back and we love each other. But, like, you know, if anyone watched it, we were fighting all the time. But, I could only do it with her. You can't, divorce your sister, and you can't, if it was a friend or, my husband, it would probably be different.
It'd be
But
over.
yeah, I mean, we're so alike but so different at the same time, so we clash a lot, which was probably good TV, really.
Absolutely.
Which is why they asked us back.
Spot on. So where did the creative juices, the design style come from then? If you didn't have it going in or you didn't think you had it, at what point did you go, oh, wow, we've actually got this?
I had it a little bit. Definitely, like amongst all of my friends, I think I was probably the most stylish and house proud. Mm-hmm. I actually think it stemmed back from our childhood. So growing up, we grew up with a single mother. We didn't have much money. We lived in housing trusts.
Yeah.
And I remember we were allowed to paint the walls and do it up. Mm-hmm. And I remember going like, your friends would come over and it'd be hard not to, feel a bit embarrassed about the house. And so we painted it and we got creative, and Mum let us do suede paint on the walls. And I actually think it probably stemmed from that, looking at the environment going, how can I make this feel better? And it was a nice house. But I was still just, it was like, how can we make this feel like home? And that's where I actually reckon it stemmed from.
So let's fast forward to now where you are still doing design, but of a complete, not houses.
Yeah. Well, so Lysandra and I, we have created, we launched our personal care range, Alive Body, 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And at that time we were like, we actually need to be triplets here because there's just not enough of us. And that's a scary thought. And we were like, all right, we need to divide and conquer here. So Lysandra manages our interior design business called Elise and Lysandra Interiors.
Yeah.
And I manage Alive Body. So we've divided and conquered, but we still run the businesses together, but day-to-day operations we've had to separate. So, yeah, we're definitely still in the design industry business, but I've taken a sidestep over into Alive Body.
So tell us, what is Alive Body?
So Alive Body is a personal care range. It consists of our iconic interlocking duo. It's a hand and body wash and a hand and body lotion. Mm-hmm. And it comes now in 8 different colourways and scents. We initially launched with 3. And it came from we had purchased a property in Albert Park in Melbourne, and we had finished it, and we went to style the bathrooms, and we were in Melbourne. Like, we spent the whole day shopping and trying to find something that was a little bit unique. We don't like doing things that have, been done a million times. And we couldn't find anything. And that project didn't really go to plan. We should have made a lot of money on that, but we actually ended up like losing money on that because holding fees. We were in the heritage overlay area.
Oh,
we couldn't do anything for 18 months. And then we bought at peak and then we sold when the market was about to crash. And what, in hindsight, we should have held on to it for another year and, made a ton of money on it. But anyway, things happen for a reason. And, if that was successful, we would have jumped straight over and done another flip. And then we got back to Adelaide and I was like, man, there's something in this. There is something in. We should approach a soap company and say, do you want to do a collaboration and we'll do a designer range with you?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, stuff it. Let's do it ourselves. And so for 6 months, I just kind of locked myself in a room and created the brand and the concept and what it was, meant to look like and a full vision, and literally sent a million emails trying to find suppliers and understand how you get a product-based business off the ground and the whole product development and then, presented to the team. And, well, when I say team, it was like Lysandra and Mia, our assistant at the time. And I was like, what do you think? And they were both like, love it. And so from there it was like full on game on. Yeah.
And look, you launched in just as COVID hit, which no one saw that coming. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing there's probably a few tears and, oh my golly, what does tomorrow bring? You've turned this into a multi-million-dollar business in such a short time during really what is a financial crisis all around the world. Are you pinching yourself right now? From a housing trust home with your mum to where you are today.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I know. And I just got goosebumps because I don't take the time to stop and think about it. And when I do, yeah, it's bloody crazy. But yeah, when we were launching, it took 2 years in development to get it to the stage of launching, and it was literally the week that we were about to get locked in for COVID.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, I can't believe we're about to launch. And, we wanted to get into homeware stores and they're all closing down. And I was like, maybe we just hold off. Maybe we hold off this launch until, COVID's only going to be around a couple of months, right? And I'm so glad we didn't, because people were at home. They wanted nice things for their house. What better thing to launch in the middle of a pandemic than hand soap? Like, everybody is like washing their hands.
Yeah, so true.
And yeah, and then it was just, it just built from there. And yeah, I always knew it would be successful. I just knew it. I knew it in my gut.
Why?
I've got it in intuition. I knew we were going to win the block. I knew we were going to get onto the block before we actually won the block. Okay. It's this intuition.
Yeah.
It's this gut instinct. But I didn't quite expect it to be like this big. Yeah.
And I love that you are building it all here in South Australia. That's really important to you guys, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. People always say, well, are you going to go to Melbourne? Are you going to go to New South Wales? Are you going to, Victoria's, the place to be. And it's like, no, I couldn't. I absolutely love SA. Unless, I went over to America to live for a year with a family for something different.
Yeah.
I cannot see myself doing business or living anywhere else. I just absolutely love it. And I like that people, back in the day, pre-COVID, people would give Adelaide a bit of,
Bit of stick.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to hear anyway.
Yeah, that's it. You're not welcome.
We don't want to drive up our house prices. They're already expensive enough.
And then just recently, you've won the 40 Under 40 Awards, where that is a pretty elite group of women. What do you hope to bring to that? You've been on such a journey.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Got nominated for the 40 Under 40 and got shortlisted. I applied, as a representative of Alive Body. And yeah, we were there on the night and had my husband and my sister and a couple of employees and yeah, seeing all these people get winning these awards. And yeah, at the very end, my name got called and I was just like, I'm actually still in shock. Some of the people up there, like surgeons, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? So to have my name called, it was a big honour.
Well, that's what keeps you so real and likeable and approachable, and it's well done. Congratulations. And if anyone's listening, where can they get online and buy and have a try?
They can jump on to alivebody.com.au. Actually, we've got our end of financial year sale, so
perfect
go
timing.
check that out. And we've also got a stockist locator on our website. We're in over 750 stockists around Australia, so yeah.
Incredible success story. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You really, really deserve it, both you and your sister.
Yep.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.